It's time now for Sozzi's Take. Starbucks is going to hold a closely watched Investor Day in Seattle on September 13th. And we'll be watching to see how Howard Schultz weaves in new CEO Laxman Narasimhan and also what long-term growth targets are shared. And that's what Soz is watching.
People always wonder like what we talk about in break. I wish we were able to talk about it, but we won't in this case. We will not. But a couple things I'm watching. September 13th, big Investor Day for Starbucks. And I highlighted a couple challenges for Starbucks coming into this, what will be an extravaganza. Knowing Howard Schultz, he loves to put on a big event. He loves to hear himself talk. And I think you'll hear a lot of that on September 13th. First up, regaining the trust of store workers. This company has continued to battle challenges regarding unionization. That has continued. It looks like it will continue into year end. I want to hear what they're doing to regain the trust of store workers, and I think investors want to hear what they're trying to do that along those lines as well. Also, regaining the trust of investors. You look at Starbucks stock price down about 24% over the past year, badly lagging the S&P 500. So that has come as results have just not been very Starbucks-like. Part of that is because of the pandemic. Part of that is also just some operating issues, I would say, came to light under now former CEO Kevin Johnson. And then lastly here, spending just enough money to drive growth, but not spending too much. I think investors want to see Starbucks, of course, invest in its business, but not go full bore as to continue to put pressure on profit margins. So that's something they will be watch very closely at this event. Now, on the positive side here, I'm looking for some positives. What a perfect Starbucks Investor Day would look like. A couple things here worth noting. New CEO wows the crowd. Laxman is a crowd favorite, I think, early on. People, I think, have warmed up to him pretty quickly here, just judging by the early rounds of analyst notes. So that is encouraging to see that he might be embraced by Wall Street. Number two, 10% plus long-term EPS growth, is that reiterated? Starbucks has historically grown at this rate. I think the market wants to see that number reiterated at this event. And then lastly, clear initiatives in place to alleviate worker stresses. You go into these Starbucks stores, Julie, they are still incredibly packed with drinks. You have these workers now taking on more tasks, notably increasingly complex cold drinks placed on mobile devices. So a lot of stress is coming at that Starbucks worker. Ultimately, my take is this. It is time to see less Howard Schultz waxing poetic on a stage on Investor Day and more Laxman. You're going to hear from Howard Schultz. It's just what he does. You're going to hear him. He's going to be put front and center. I want to hear more from Laxman. I want to know why he was hired. I want to know who he is on a human level. And I want to know how much involvement he will have crafting this long-term strategy over the next couple of years.
Okay.
That's the better brew.
That is the better brew. My question perennially for Starbucks is, why isn't the food better?
The food is awful. The food is terrible. And the coffee, too, has increasingly, I would argue, has this burnt taste. Something has to change.
People have complained about that forever,
It's brutal. And the price is getting out of control. I paid $8 for my coffee this morning. $8. But you saw the jug that I got from Starbucks. You saw it.
What else? Like, what kind of coffee? It was a cold brew.
It was a Trenta. It's the largest Trenta size with 3 shots. So, I mean, look, I get it. I understand. I should be paying $8.
I don't know how your heart continues operating sometimes.
It's not operating. I'm a robot, Julie.
No, that's